Hi, thank you for checking out my game Moriarty vs Moriarty, a strategic bidding game for 2 players. I previously recorded a 2-minute video which explains a lot of the core elements of the game. I'll leave a link on the description below. What I would like to do in this video instead is to show you an example of the assignment phase as well as the action phase, which can give you a sense of the options and the type of decisions you'll be making in the game, and hopefully give you a taste of what makes this game so exciting to play. I won't be delving into all the rules, but I'll make sure that you'll be able to follow along. Now, let's have a look at the game. So in this example, I'll be playing as the yellow player. And before we head into the example, I'd like to cover some of the core concepts of the game so that hopefully it's easier for you to follow along. And the goal of the game is for you to end the game with the most victory points. The best way for you to earn victory points is by having the most influence cubes, which are these cubes over here, in different locations of the city. Each board represents an individual and separate location. The other way for you to earn victory points is by executing missions or recruiting accomplices that have victory points. The way for you to earn influence cubes is by bidding agents to different locations. If you are uncontested or win the bid, so in this case the purple player has won the bid, you will place cubes based on the proficiency of the agent. So in this case it is 1 indicated in this icon, so you'll be placing 1 cube in the room that you're in. So talking about rooms, you'll notice that each location is segmented up, so each segment represents a room, and you'll notice that at the very bottom there are icons, and these icons indicate how many cubes you're allowed to place in each room before progressing to the next. Whenever you max out a room with icons, not with icons, but with cubes, you are actually rewarded with something. So in this case, if you max out this room with 4 cubes, you'll be given 1 free cube to place anywhere else that you want. These rewards can be triggered at any point during the game. So it's important for you to keep that in mind when you're planning your placements and assignments, because that could really help you cascade into victory. Last of all, I want to talk about the stars of the game, which are the agents. And you'll notice that agents have different back designs. That's because oops, lost an agent. Okay. Agents with the borders are odd value agents, and agents that are full color without the border are even value agents. So you can use this information when you're deducing your opponent's moves, or you can actually leverage off this information to try and bluff or trick your opponent into your goals. So that should give you enough information as we move into the next section, which is the assignment phase. In this phase, players will be taking turns in placing agents in different locations of the city. If we have a quick look at the board, you'll notice that I'm doing quite well in this location, but I'm lagging behind in these two. So my game plan is to try and boost up these 2 locations, and the way that I'm going to do that is by making sure that I have enough resources to purchase this mission card. So if you look at the card, top left corner is the cost, and the bottom shows the effect. So it will cost me 2 yellow resources in order to get 3 purple resources. And if we compare these 2 locations, purple seems to be able to catch up a lot sooner than a yellow, so it kind of makes sense for me to do that. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use the effects of the black market. So one of the effects of the black market is that it allows you to reallocate any cubes, right? And in this case, I'm going to be aiming to reallocate these 2 cubes because I'm lagging quite behind in this location, and I'm not confident I'm able to catch up. So instead of wasting away at this location, I'm going to try and push them up into one of these locations, most likely the Intel location, which is the one with the purple resource. So before the game begins, I'll most likely try and bluff my opponent. I say something along the lines of not being able to catch up here, and that I will try and focus on these locations. Whether or not my opponent buys my bluff, we shall see. So let's start off with placing an even value agent here. Now, the reason why I've decided to do that is because the strongest agent is the 6th value agent, but my 6th value agent is currently being a reserve agent, but my opponent doesn't know that. So in this case, I've placed an even value agent here. Oh, by the way, we won't go into what the reserve agent does in this video, but just so you know that this is where my strongest agent is. Now, my opponent, based on the bluff I've told him, he's probably a little bit unsure, so he decides to place an odd value agent here. Now, we don't have enough information to decipher what they've done over here, so I decided to play a 5 value agent here. Reason being that I really don't want him to gain any more grounds in this location, and 5 value agent is the strongest odd value agent. The worst case is I tie with him. Best case is I beat him and he can't place any more cubes. My opponent is unfazed. They decide to play the next odd value agent in this location. Now, if we look at this location, you can see that this section is 2 cubes away from earning its rewards. So I have a strong feeling that this is a 3 value agent, because I know that a 3 value agent is allowed to place 2 cubes. So in response, I'm going to play my 4 value agent. Actually, no, I won't do that just yet, because I want to keep up the facade that I'm focusing on these 2 locations. So instead of doing that, I decided to play my weakest agent here. And we'll see what my opponent decides to do. In this case, my opponent has decided to retaliate and place an even value agent here. Now, I know I've been beat, but it doesn't matter. They've wasted an agent, whatever agent this is. Now, I play my 4 value agent here, and I think at this stage my opponent is onto me. So they're not very confident with what they've placed. They've placed another agent here to boost this spot up. Now I'm down to my last agent, and this is where I play my true hand and my true intentions. So I place my 3 value agent here, and let's see what my opponent does. They think for a moment and decide that they're just going to come here because I've left it undefended. And that is the end of the assignment phase. Now we head on into the action phase, where we resolve each location sequentially, starting from the streets. The agents are revealed, and my 5 strength agent beats their 1, and I'm allowed to place 1 cube based on my proficiency. I also be able to increase my opponent's heat by 1. Next up is the financial sector. So I know I've been beat, and my opponent beats me with a 7. They place 2 cubes. Now this actually fills up this room, activating its room reward. My opponent gains 1 free cube, which they place here, instantly activating another reward, which they will then place here. This location is left uncontested. My opponent wins, and they get to place their cube. We now move on to the black market, where I reveal my 3 strength agent, and I am allowed to move up to 2 cubes. So in this case, I stick to my original plan and place 2 cubes in here. I activate the room reward. I gain 1 free cube, which goes here. And then there's another reward that gets triggered. And in this instance, because I know I'm uncontested here, I'm going to actually leave my cube here. Right, so once that is resolved, we head on to the next available location, which is the commerce sector. I reveal my 2 strength agent, and I gain 3 cubes. Now, because this room can only take 2 cubes, and there's 1 already, I place 1 cube here, and 2 cubes here, which give me access to both rewards in 1 shot, netting me 6 victory points. The last location is resolved. I lose terribly by 1 strength. My opponent is allowed to place 3 influence cubes, and that is the action phase. And that is Moriarty versus Moriarty. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I look forward to showing you more in the future. Thanks.